DJ and PK proudly presented by our title sponsor, Black Desert Resort. We're joined now by David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. David, good morning.
What could be better than a little DJ and PK in the morning, getting to chat with two of the legends of the business? There's one thing that could be better, and that's Janet Jackson as the lead-in when you're talking to DJ and PK in the morning.
You know it could be better?
Not having the fifth pick of the draft.
There it is. The number one pick in the draft would be better. Yeah. And yet again, number one slides to number 5, and there is outrage. But, David, the reason we have a lottery is so that the team can't dump games, lose games, and get the number one pick. This happened literally for the reason that it was designed to happen, which everybody's okay with until they're the one sitting in the number one slot. Then it's terrible.
That's so funny. I just ended the podcast today, and that's literally the last thing I said is for all you out there that are like, this is fixed. The NBA sucks. I'm no longer following the NBA. No. The whole point for the NBA is they do not want you to do what the Utah Jazz, Washington Wizards, and Charlotte Hornets did last year. And they've built an entire system to try to not make it advantageous. And it wasn't as advantageous as it could have been. So, yes, the NBA has no idea what they're doing. It's completely wrong. No, it's exactly what they wanted to do.
Well, yeah, but I don't know about that because the argument is to prevent it or make it stupid to tank, and next year we'll have the same teams tanking again. So why is it so great?
Right. Yeah, no, 100%, right? I don't know the answer here, and there's some landscape things in the league that are changing that are making it. So with free agency really no longer being a viable way to build a roster other than really rare occasions, so then all of a sudden there's really only two ways to build your roster. One is you trade, but since you're good, you don't want to trade your good players, so you're trading your draft assets for players. And the only other thing you do is you trade your players, if you're not trying to be good anymore, to those teams who are trying to be good for draft assets, which then makes your draft asset more important. These are the only two ways right now to build a roster in the NBA, and so I don't have a good answer for you. I'm not saying they're right. I'm just saying the argument that the league is fixed. This is all the shows how. No, this is exactly what the league wants to have happen. This is exactly it.
Then throw it open and. There is no lottery. All 32 teams are in the lottery.
Well, there are only 30.
30. You know that.
He's anticipating Vegas and Seattle.
Put them all in. That would be a TV show.
That would be interesting. Are you weighing it at all, or are they all even?
No. Everybody has the same equal chance. And televise it.
Why not just go to the wheel?
Whichever way you want to, whatever word you want to use, and televise. Don't do it in some other room. Televise it live as it happens.
Can you do? Could you build a system? I'm making this up as we go along, where you cannot have the same pick.
Yeah, if you want to.
Amount of without X amount of years. I was going to say 30, but then by the end of it, on the 30th year, you just have everybody slotted into a pick they haven't had. And basically by the 29th, you have the same thing. So it would probably not work. But you have something where every 10 years you cannot draft the same position you've already been drafted in?
I'm not so concerned about that because we've seen players get drafted. Kwame Brown, Olowokandi, Wiseman here by the Warriors recently. Just because you have a high pick, Cantor with the Jazz, doesn't mean you're going to get a good player. They can screw it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real catch-22 here, right? That on one level you don't want people tanking, so you've made it disadvantageous or less advantageous. And then on the other side, you go present this model of everyone has an equal chance in the draft, and teams say, well, how do we possibly rebuild? So there's a total catch-22, and that no answer seems to be a good one.
Isn't Detroit one of the teams that dropped from 1 to 5 one year? I mean, this happened multiple times.
Multiple times to Detroit.
Right,
yeah.
And they rebuilt anyway. Look at them now. They're a playoff team. They're good. They've got good young players.
So virtually everyone that goes and tanks for 2 or 3 years ends up in the playoffs. Almost everyone. The teams that we quote talking about not doing it didn't actually go down far enough. Sacramento lived between 6 and 10 all those years. But Washington has been an incompetent franchise in regards to winning. Did make the playoffs with John Wall and Bradley Beal for a few years. Almost every single team that has had a top 5 pick or finished in the bottom 5 in the standings for 3 years in a row makes the playoffs. There were 7 of the 16 teams this year that would fall under that qualification in this year's playoffs.
Do you think they're going to draft 5th, or do you think they're going to trade up into the, not the first spot, but 2nd or 3rd and get somebody that they really value?
So I think there's something really interesting. 3, 4, 5 all have, there's 5 really good players in this draft. So the Jazz are getting a really, really good player. And in my opinion, this is not universal, I don't have Jeremiah Fears in that list, and I don't have Con Knipple in that list, so I have Trey Johnson, Ace Bailey, and BJ Edgecombe as the 3 players after Cooper and Dylan Harper. And so if the Jazz have one of them that they think is dramatically better than the others, and they offer Philadelphia the 21st pick, can they get the 3? That seems like a reasonable trade to me. If I'm Philadelphia and I've got tax problems, and I don't have one of the 3 guys that I think is dramatically better, that's the key right there. Philadelphia can't believe the same thing. And I can get another player 21 and have Philadelphia's got some roster money issues. Maybe I'm willing to do that. If I'm Charlotte and there's let's say Ace Bailey goes and we really believe that BJ Edgecombe or Trey Johnson or Jeremiah Fears is an elite level player, and we offer the 21st pick to Charlotte, the other guy, and Charlotte doesn't believe the same thing, seems like that's a really reasonable trade.
Yeah, I can buy that. I don't know that we necessarily needed the results of the lottery to confirm this, but since it was the 5th pick, what's your level of, of confidence, but maybe conviction that the record and the playing time and all that we saw in the 24-25 season will reflect almost the same point in the 25-26 season?
Who are you? I didn't follow who were. I thought you were heading toward our draft pick.
Yeah.
Who are you referring to in regards to play? Oh, I think our draft pick will play 30 minutes tonight.
Right. So the results that we saw on the floor this year will mirror what we see next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meaning they have to go through at least one more draft before they can start to think about making a move.
Yeah, people get really mad at me when I say this. Hopefully 2 more.
2 more?
What? I'm about to get really mad at you, David.
My point is, if you start down this road, the worst thing you can do is bail out.
Yeah, I agree.
So the teams that have bailed out, that almost has never worked. So you do this for a few years, and you start adding pieces around with veterans that are ready to play and bring support, and then the next step is the really hard one. The one after that is then you got to, like Houston did this for 3 years. They have a bunch of pieces now. Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks are probably not championship pieces, and I'm not sure. I think Amen Thompson's pretty special. I think he's going to be like Giannis. So they probably have their guiding star for the future, but their next step in building is really hard. Detroit has Jaden Ivey. They have Jalen Duren. They have Cade Cunningham. They have Asor Thompson. They've got their 4 guys. They did Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr. That's not an answer. They got to do something different and build this thing around their guiding star, Cade Cunningham. They're in this now. They're in the most difficult stage. Orlando's done it with Paulo and Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs. They added Contavious Caldwell-Pope fairly unsuccessfully. We'll see what they do next. They need to do something, and they're pretty inactive. Memphis did it with Desmond Bain, John Morant, J.R. Jackson Jr., and then they screwed up. Went after Marcus Smart, might have derailed the whole dang thing. So that's the model. It's difficult, and it gets harder as time goes on.
When you say 2 more years of this, do you mean resting 23-year-olds because they're good enough to help you win and they're afraid they might win the game? Or are you talking about being super committed to young players and that just naturally leads to, 25 and 57 seasons?
I mean the latter.
Okay.
I think if we start a roster next year, if our starting lineup next year is Keontae George, Trey Johnson, Taylor Hendricks, he's back, Lowry Markkinen, and Walker Kessler. That's where we start the year. That probably doesn't win a lot of games.
Understood. Is there anything that can be done now? I mean, having the lottery for everybody is probably extreme, and they'll never really do that. But can they do anything that can wait? Because they're not going to eliminate tanking. It's the curse of basketball in that all these other drafts, maybe football is the exception too, but football is such a big numbers game that a 4th-round pick can be extremely valuable to you. And if you have multiple 3rd-round picks, they get all excited because of the number of bodies that you need to compete. But in basketball, guys can come in at the top of the draft or wherever they're drafted if they're good enough and make such a huge difference that the draft, it takes on such a level of importance that I'm not sure is there in the other sports. But you wonder, because it's so arbitrary, and then you can have big time results that can last for a long time. And I'm looking at San Antonio. They win the lottery when you got Robinson and Duncan there, and then they get a number 1 pick, and then 2 years later they get a number 2 pick. And it's so random in a sense, but yet it could be so helpful to the franchise and devastating to the people that are to teams that are competing with them. Can there be anything done that, like you were talking about, that you can't get another pick so high, or can they weight the system differently to somehow make it? I don't know that there's any answers to it, but it just seems that I don't want San Antonio to luck into Robinson and Duncan and then get Wembanyama and then 2 years later get a 2nd pick. And who knows if Dylan Harper might be the greatest thing since whatever. And we're looking at another great run by them. And what did they do to get that? They lost. It just doesn't seem right.
So I agree with you. And the Spurs' propensity for luck is a little overwhelming. We're in the epicenter of it right now, so it feels very, very, I think for us, what I kind of keep going back to from a league, like if you're the league and you're trying to fix something, and we keep going back to that kind of concept, as though something's broken and has to be fixed, like it's broken to us right now as Utah Jazz fans because of the fact that we didn't get the number 1 pick. It's probably broken to Washington Wizards fans, but I'm not sure it's actually broken the league at all.
It doesn't have to be broken. Can't they improve it, though?
But I think you'd have to get them to understand what are they, like, I don't think it's bad for the league that Cooper Flagg went to Dallas.
No, it's great for the league that he goes to a big market team. That's the point. They have a 1.8% chance.
It's actually good for the league that he went to a good team. Like, he could go to Washington, D.C., which is a mammothly big market, but if he's just dueling on a team that's not any good, that's not great for the league.
Yeah, I don't know that this was great for the league. I don't know that this was great for Dallas. I mean, in the short run, sure, but he's teamed with a 32 and a 33-year-old. The 32-year-old is routinely injured. The 33-year-old just tore his ACL. I think this could lead to Dallas being stuck in the middle, and We got new ownership. We don't know how well run that franchise is or isn't going to be. We got the Doncic trade, which seems like a pretty big red flag, but it's still just one moment.
Yeah, back to PK's point, I guess you have to, from a league standpoint, you got to figure out what you really think is broken. And I just don't think that it's, even this year when we were going through whatever, the tank, whatever you want to call it, and everyone was like, oh, they can't have this, it's terrible. Not sure it was that bad for the league, right? It's not great for the Utah Jazz on that moment, and certainly the lottery wasn't very good for the Utah Jazz. But when we talk about trying to fix something or change it, it has to be bad for the league. And I don't think that what's going on right now in any of this is actually that bad for the league.
Then why'd they fine him if it wasn't so bad for the league?
I think that was a shot over the bow to make sure it didn't get any worse.
Okay, well, if it's worse, that means it's got to be bad.
Yeah, no, well, the league. Okay, so that was not good for the league, and the league fined him. Right? So that's an example of, yes, the league deemed that as bad, and they took action. I'm not sure the league sees what we're talking about as bad and worthy of keep taking action.
I think in these discussions, it's best to just follow the money. And the TV networks and streaming services just gave the league $76 billion over 11 years. So the league's doing just fine. And I would say for people, worried about the whole, how does a small market rebuild? Oklahoma City, Indiana, Minnesota, these are not glamorous places or massive markets, and they're doing just fine in the playoffs.
I mean, we're about to have Indiana, Oklahoma City, and hope not. Go Denver. But we're about to have Indiana, Oklahoma City, and Minnesota as the three of the four final teams. It's pretty hard to argue that market size is dictating performance.
Yeah, I don't know that people are arguing that. I mean, that then you get into the real big time conspiracy theory. I mean, I don't know that they're just fine is good enough. They want every last dollar.
That's true. Yes, they do.
but to the dollar point, which I don't disagree with at all, the TV networks gave all the money, I don't even know if they're TV networks anymore, right?
Streaming services, yeah.
The services gave the league all this money. If Charlotte, Washington, and Utah are losing lots of games, that has zero impact on the streaming services.
Yeah, understand that.
Right.
But you're still trying to grow. You don't want to stagnate.
Absolutely. I mean, there's going to be another negotiation one day,
right.
And there's already a commissioner, and there are multiple clubs thinking about that. And you want to win. Winning's fun. It's just great.
I'm literally texting Alan Horton, the Timberwolves play-by-play announcer, last night asking if I can do stats for them if Denver beats Oklahoma City. I like Alan a lot, but I don't like him enough to go to Oklahoma City. So I'd go to Denver. But I'm literally trying to figure out how I'm going to a Western Conference final game if Minnesota's playing Denver. It's amazing. I'm watching that game last night just going, God, I want to be there so badly. So, I'm with you. But, we're trying to have a reasonable conversation about fixes and this and that and broken. We got to get out of the lens of just looking at it from the Utah Jazz. We're trying to fix the league. We got to look at it from the league. I don't think it's broken.
Do you like any of these players more than others at 5?
So I really think Ace Bailey has a chance to be really, really, really good. I really like Trey Johnson. I got to tell you what, watching this year versus last year is just an incredible difference. Last year, literally, you're watching players and you are grasping for the tiniest, littlest. If you remember, I came on the air with you last year talking about how much I liked Cody Williams. The two plays I liked best by Cody Williams were turnovers. Literally turnovers. He burst through a double team, split the double team with an explosion, and one threw the ball into the third row of the stands across the way, and the other way he lost control of the ball on the dribble. And I thought those were signs of that he was better than other players in the draft. That's literally how brutal watching players was last year. This is so different. These guys are all and the numbers are so different. The numbers there's very few players that red flag The BYU kid red flags on shooting, but very few kids red flag. Last year, every Stephen Castle red flag. And I'm still not sure. Stephen Castle won Rookie of the Year. I'm still not sure. Like, if I'm San Antonio, I'm off him. They can't have De'Aaron Fox and Stephen Castle in their backcourt. You can't have two guys shooting 30% from three. So, this is such a different ballgame. This is Trey Johnson is going to score 20 points a game in the NBA. I'm certain of it. VJ Edgecombe's just a world-class athlete. Like, the comp is Victor Oladipo, and I don't think it's a terrible comp. Comps are never right, but it's not a terrible comp. So I think those three kids, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, and Trey Johnson, are all terrific, and so one of them's going to be there at 5. I probably like Trey Johnson and Ace Bailey a little bit more than I like VJ Edgecombe, but like VJ, you guys saw him. I mean, he torched BYU. Everyone saw that one up close and personal. That's your fifth pick. That doesn't seem too terrible.
Well, David, we're going to leave it right there for now. We will talk to you again next week. Let you take a deeper dive into some of the draft possibilities. We'll talk to you then. Have a good week. Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
DJ PK, when we come back, Pablo Mastrani, RSL head coach, joins us next. Stay with us.